This would have been a different title if the Bulls lost last night. I would have put a title as they choked again. But thanks to Nikola Vucevic in another game-winning shot, I have to alter the title. So we'll talk about his game-winning shot right after this.
Get the lowdown on one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What is going on, Bulls Nation? So this is the game between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Chicago Bulls that came down to the wire. It has to come down to Vooch again saving the Chicago Bulls from a loss. Had they lost, I think they're going to be at 500, but now we're 2 games above 500, which is not a bad place to be in if you're a Bulls fan, especially, the past few years. But it's kind of disheartening to see the Chicago Bulls cough up a 21-point lead against the Blazers. Sort of like Detroit, but obviously Detroit is playing a lot better because they have their best players sitting on this game as well. Well, most of them are. That Detroit loss was bad because their starters are basically not there. I get that Giddey was not there as well, but this game was hard to watch in a different reason because A, this is the Portland Trail Blazers, and B, we had a big lead, like a 21-point lead, and we are a complete team at this point. I mean, sure, we're missing not Kevin Huerter. Sure, we are missing some injured our center, Collins, but come on, he wasn't there when we were winning a lot. But the biggest glaring weakness for the Bulls, at least in the past few games when we lost, was rebounding. The guards were not, on the winning streak, the guards were attacking the boards because we all know Vooch would have his numbers on the board, but he's not exactly dominating the boards as well. It's evident that the Portland Trail Blazers, I believe, Donovan Clingan himself has 21 rebounds. And I believe the Bulls were out-rebounded, like on the offensive boards as well. I think around 16, if not more. I lost track, but it was ugly because they were getting opportunities after opportunities after opportunities. The biggest weakness, I would say, would be the power forward. And I hate to say that because Matas Buzelis is with us, and he is the brightest, future that the Bulls have as far as young stars. If you don't want to count Giddey, Giddey's pretty young himself. But as far as, the Bulls are counting on, it's Matas Buzelis. And he has 5 rebounds. His 3-point shot has improved, with his minutes as well. So he's producing more points. But it just doesn't feel right. Like it feels like he doesn't have the same, I wouldn't say bounce because he is pretty athletic, but the rim protection that I was expecting and the leap of being a power forward, perhaps it would come along with his body when he grows into his body. But as of now, if the Bulls are planning to contend, they gotta address the power forward position. I did notice though that Matas Buzelis' minutes has been, Billy Donovan is not afraid to pull you if you are not having a good game. Especially for a young guy. He did that with Zach LaVine. There was some drama after that, but somebody like Matas Buzelis, I think Billy Donovan would not hesitate, would not think twice of benching Matas if he's not performing to his expectations. But the rebounding, the rim protection, we know that Vooch is not a rim protector. So running this lineup in the fourth quarter where basically your power forward is Isaac Okoro. Well, you got Matas Buzelis in there, but I think the closing lineup Matas was sitting is not effective. But does he have a choice? I think you do. I said it before, Jalen Smith has been playing pretty well. And he's not this lumbering, cement of a foot of a center. I think he can move his feet. He can defend pretty well. You can say he can protect the rim as well. I believe that. And I'm not saying start him all the time in the power forward, but in a game like this, where we are getting hammered, all their points are on the inside and the offensive rebounding is just killing the Bulls. Maybe it's not a bad idea to put in somebody big like Jalen Smith, which is not exactly big. We're not asking Billy Donovan here to have a lineup of Drummond and Vooch. I remember back then that was a point of emphasis. We're like, hey, why don't we put them together? Well, they're both slow-footed center, but Jalen Smith, I don't think, I think he can move his feet pretty well, defend the rim. So he's big-bodied as well. So in my opinion, it would help tremendously. I don't know. This is where the Kobe just had this mental lapse where he just passed it along. But luckily for the Bulls, Vooch was there, wide open. Kobe made that play happen. I'm glad that Kobe didn't force the issue. He passed it to Vooch. Very dangerous play because it's in the three-point area. But this is the second time that Vooch has this game winner now. Josh played pretty well in my opinion, got 13 assists, only 9 points, but you can feel his presence when he's on the floor, even though in those 9 points. Kevin Werder started, but he only had 2 points, 23 minutes, not really that impactful. Kobe White came off the bench, provided 25 points, 9 out of 17, so not a bad night for him, but the bench was pretty good. Like Dalen Terry, plus 16, 17 minutes. He is he's a lightning rod. Every once in a while he'll give you good games, and then there's going to be a string of games where he's going to make boneheaded plays. But the past 2 games, Dalen Terry has been playing good in my opinion. I wouldn't say tremendous, but playing good. So was Patrick Williams, only 5 points, 13 minutes. Not a whole lot of minutes for Patrick Williams. 5 rebounds though, so that's not bad for 13 minutes for Patrick Williams. And as usual, Ayo Dosunmu, the star of our bench, plus 7, 20. Oh no, that's Kobe. 14 points for Ayo Dosunmu. So, this is we got our own bench mob here. So don't be afraid if we are getting hammered, because Collins is not gonna walk in the room anytime soon, I believe. So please use some other guys. We're lucky here because I thought the Portland came up to like 4-point lead in the past 2 minutes. But I'll be interested to see what happens next. Our schedule is going to be a lot easier from here on out against Miami. I think they're pretty beatable if you're the Bulls. But also personal changes, lineup changes. I would love to see what's going to happen next. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are a Bulls fan. And I will see you tomorrow after the game.